Peter and Erica footage. And that, my friends, is the signal that this is the final episode of season 1 of This Podcast Needs a Title.
Oh my God. Oh my God. We did it. 22 episodes of each other. Oh my God.
22. We really should put this on YouTube.
Should we?
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, why not?
I should have put my makeup on.
I should have taken my energy mask off. Welcome to This Podcast Needs a Title, episode 22, the final episode of season 1.
Hey.
I am, and ever will be, Erica Davis.
And I think I'm Peter Malone Elliott, although lately I'm not sure. And this is real talk about writing, publishing, and everything in between. Our guest today is a 2-for-1 special, folks. Jessi Honard Marie Parks, whose debut novel, Unrelenting, was released by Not a Pipe Publishing on April 19th. I'm very excited about this one. I'm excited. I'm excited about all of our guests, obviously. Yeah. I love them all. They're all my kids, and it's fine. And we'll have a conversation. They share my DNA, and that's fine. I'm very excited about this one. I'm always very excited, but I'm particularly excited about these two because Jessi Marie are actually former Book Pipeline Unpublished finalists.
I'm so excited. What year? What year was that?
2020, the inaugural year. They were actually legitimately the first success story because they were the first. Like I introduced them to Not a Pipe and they signed, and they were the first like out and out full on success story the contest had.
I got to admit, I'm a little nervous because it's the first time we've had 2 guests on.
True.
But it's appropriate because this is episode 22.
Hey.
So we have 2 of us and 2 of them.
Zing.
And this could be off the record, but I'm happy to sort of sit back and let you steer the entire thing and just sort of pitch in, because otherwise it's going to be a little chaotic editing. Okay. I think, honestly, I'll probably keep this in because this is a podcast about process. And as an audio editor, it gets overwhelming because
with 4 voices,
one of your co-hosts, she shall remain nameless, has a tendency to interrupt people because she gets so excited with her ADHD. And
Who's that?
Rhymes with Schmerica. So I don't know. What do you think about that as a process? Like, just especially when there's 2 people, one of us steers the
that's fine
ship, and the other one pokes the other in the back.
Okay, that's fine. I'm happy to steer the ship this round. But before we get into that, Erica, how are you doing?
Oh my God, Peter, I have so much to tell you. Number 1, I am so happy you're feeling better. Number 2, I'm so happy I'm feeling better because last night I thought I was getting COVID. It turns out I was just dehydrated and was having some allergy issues.
Interjection. Erica is referring to the fact that I had COVID.
Oh, right. Sorry, Peter had COVID. Number 2.5 is, I forgot what I was going to say. So number 3 is, I had a dream about you 2 mornings ago.
Oh, shut the front door and call me Aunt Judy. Tell me about it.
Slap my ass and call me Judy.
Slap my ass and call me Judy.
I have never had a dream about my co-host before. I do not dream about coworkers as a matter of principle. It's just weird. Unless I'm, ever working with my husband, because he's in my dreams all the time. Like, just literally like weird things like, okay, he's a squid now. That's fine.
It's very specific. Okay.
Yeah. Cephalopod. My dream was, let's see, I was in a thrift store, probably with one of my older nieces. I don't know why she was there, but I've never gone thrifting with her that I can tell. But I am excited about an upcoming trip to Buffalo. So that's probably where that came in.
Sure.
And all of a sudden, there's a section of like all the books and the media and CDs and everything, and some DVDs and some VHS tapes. And I'm like, VHS tapes. That looks amazing. That's so retro. And look, there on the shelf is a VHS in beat up condition, but still usable, of Jurassic Park.
Dinosaurs.
Yes. Jurassic Park, the movie. My hand to Cthulhu, I'm not making this up. I remember opening it up. It wasn't the cardboard slide out. It was the plastic clamshell case.
Oh, the clamshell case. I remember those.
Which is typical for kids stuff, not adults. And it's a PG-13 movie, I think. I open up the case and it's not Jurassic Park in there. It's actually like, it's something like a video of Engelbert Humperdinck or something like it. But I close it real quick.
That is a reference out of
left field. It is a
reference.
Field. I close it. It was such a funny name. So in the dream, I close the case real quick because it's almost like if I didn't see it, it may end up still becoming Jurassic Park, the VHS in there.
Sure.
Because, hey, niece, I'm going to get this for Peter. And she's like, who the heck is Peter?
Yep.
And I'm like, don't worry about it. And in the dream, I'm on my way up to the checkout counter, like rushing because I forget the rest of the store exists because I just need to get this in my possession to mail it to you before this day of recording in real life.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in the dream, I'm aware it's a dream. So like if I hurry up, I won't wake up yet.
I'll outrun reality.
I'll outrun reality for real. Peter, and then in real life, for the first time in probably 25 years, I get the worst leg cramp in my right calf muscle.
No.
I haven't had one in forever. I think the only time I've really ever had one in recent memory was seventh grade. In seventh grade, I had to run a mile. It took me like 34 minutes. But I did it. That was my dream. And I have to admit, that makes me very excited to find out how you did on your accountability goal. However, I do know that you were under the weather. So,
and you also have to ask me how I'm doing, Erica.
I'm still talking about myself. Guys, you should see the look on his face. He's backing away from the computer. He's about to set his screen on fire. You're so cute. Get up here. I will always ask you how you are because I'm not done telling you about the dream. Well, the dream's over, but my leg cramp hurt and my husband woke up because I was screaming and it's still dark outside but it's in the morning. And he's like, what is it? And I'm like, I can't move my leg. My leg was like, my foot was flexed and I couldn't unflex it. I'm like, Andy, I don't know what to do. And he's like, stand up, put pressure on it. I'm like, what the heck's that going to do? And I'm saying that as I stand up. And as soon as I put pressure on it, it's like, okay, there we go. It eased off. And the moral of the dream, kids, is hydrate.
Yep.
And also never run a mile in seventh grade because it's horrible. It's hot and sticky and your sweat stings your face. Ooh. And you do better in science and math anyway. So, okay, I think I'm done.
Okay.
Number 1, how are you? And 2, do you have any? You okay?
Yeah, you're just funny. I'm just laughing.
1, how are you? And B, any reactions?
1, I'm good. As we as we talked about before, I did have COVID, which wasn't fun, and especially when you combine it with the fact that I'm still in my walking boot because of my ruptured plantar fascia. I've been better, but I'm on the mend now. I feel better. I'm testing negative, and all that stuff. So that's good. It was a weird experience because it wasn't quite as bad as I thought it was going to be. I was fearing it was going to be Armageddon, and it wasn't quite that, but I'm glad. Couldn't really do anything for 4 days. I was just debilitated for 4 days. So I just sat on the couch and just watched TV for hours and hours and hours.
Welcome.
It's pretty great. I'm not gonna lie to you. Yeah. But other than that, I'm fine. This week I've made really good progress. Oh, someone just buzzed my apartment.
Oh, that's not Panda.
No, it's my apartment. Hold on.
Well, while Peter's walking away, I'm going to
come in.
Listen to him creeping out with somebody who's visiting him. This is how horror movie starts.
Well, that's what happens when you live in New York. You get a buzz in your intercom when you get a package.
Oh, God. Okay, good. I'm glad you're okay.
Sorry about that. Everything's fine.
Are you sure it's you and not a doppelganger? You. Prove you're Peter. Person who just sat down. Yep, that tracks.
This week I made good progress on my work in progress. I'm officially in the 3rd act. I'm very far along, which is nice.
That's great.
Yeah, this was kind of blending into the accountability goal, so I'll talk about that later.
Remind us, what project is that?
It is the creepy arsonist Yosemite script.
Yes. That's so good.
So I'm almost done. So that's cool.
Good.
I literally just about 30 minutes ago, I got another full manuscript request from an agent on my book, which is nice.
Oh my God. Is that the 3rd one or more?
3rd one. And then this weekend I am going up to a winery in upstate New York with the lady friend.
And your knee scooter.
And my knee scooter. I will be bringing along my knee scooter. I'm going to get sloshed on wine and white wine in the day. It's going to be
awesome.
Fucking tastic.
Oh my gosh. Oh, how much longer for the knee scooter?
Well, I'm seeing my doctor next week.
Okay.
It's been 8 weeks in the boot now. I'm hoping he's going to take it off, but fingers crossed. We'll see. I only take it off to shower and to go to bed. Otherwise it's on me at all times.
Ew.
And then for part B, reacting to your dream.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been a moot point because I don't have a VHS player. I only have a Betamax player.
Are you joking about the Betamax player?
Am I?
I don't know. Wouldn't you like to
I
know?
don't. I do
Oh
not
my
have a
God.
Betamax player.
You don't? Okay.
I've never even seen a Betamax in person. I barely know what it is. It's just too
Should I
sugary
leave
for
this
my
here?
taste. Yeah, sure.
A mug?
Erica is drinking out of a fifth of Jack Daniels right now.
I am
and-
not.
No, she is. And it's
Alcohol. You know this.
no.
I hate the taste of alcohol.
It is a This Podcast Needs a Title mug.
Hey, does anybody want one? There's a few left in the store behind me.
DM the Twitter account if you would like a mug. If you've already gotten one, you don't get another.
Right. Unless your 5-year-old broke it. Right,
Yes.
Leah? We love you, Leah. Yeah. If anybody, hey, you know what? Why not? This is our last episode. Let's do a giveaway. Anybody who wants one, DM at the podcast title. I have at least plenty to do this with.
The exact
And-
amount of plenty. So hurry up and get plenty.
Yes. Why have one when you can have two at twice the price?
And I will deliver it personally in a Freddy Krueger mask. At
Okay.
night with the
DM us
chainsaw.
on Twitter at the podcast title, and we will get anyone out there who wants one a mug. If you want to send
Yay.
it, have us send it to somebody else, just give us their address. Just DM us your best mailing address and your name.
And
Romy
then we're
wrote
good.
back.
Oh, yay. Good.
Oh, that's
Mm.
interesting. We'll get to that in a minute.
All right. But we have it on record now.
We have it on record. Sweet.
Hey, Erica,
Yeah, bud.
how did you do in your accountability goal?
Well, speaking of, we just heard from Romy and how she did. Let me text her. We just saw it live while we were recording. I'm recording this too. Bye. Love you.
Zeep, zap, zoop, zoop.
Peter says zeep, zap, zoop. I'm not deleting any of this. This is an amazing final season episode. This is, if this was TV, this is where like we'd have like guests from throughout the season come back on and be like,
or we
well,
do a bunch of
hey,
flashbacks unnecessarily.
somebody's at the podcast door. Let's do this. Yeah. Wow. We sure have had some crazy times, Peter.
Remember when I lost my lunch money? Huh? And then we look off into the distance and the
And there
flashback
it is.
happens.
There's the
Yep.
season. Yeah. And we all look
Yep.
so young and
Yeah.
fresh. And
It's before my bad
Wholesome.
Botox job.
I think I joked in our last episode that my accountability goal would be to also watch Jurassic Park. I did not watch Jurassic Park. I did, however, watch Hell or High Water.
Yep.
But a week earlier, I watched Fire Jumpers,
Those Who Wish Me Dead.
Smoker. Oh yeah, that one. I watched Those
Not
Who
even
Wish Me.
close.
I watched Those Who Wish Me Dead. I really enjoyed Those Who Wish Me Dead. I didn't hate Hell or High Water.
That's great. I'm genuinely surprised. That's great.
No, I really do like dark thriller TV and movies, and I'm actually getting into like true crime stuff right now
Oh,
because
cool.
that was a shock to me. And Romy's she's hopping on my DMs and Twitter here. Maybe she wants a mug.
The DMs.
Oh, she's already
Sliding
sliding into DMs.
Sliding in the DMs.
Oh my God, you guys, this is such an exciting day. Hi, Finnegan. What?
What?
My dog just derailed me. The movie. Yeah, I really do enjoy thrillers, and Western is not my favorite. I don't like being hot, and when I watch something,
I don't like being hot.
if I'm watching like a desert movie, I'm like, oh, I'm so uncomfortable right now. Like I feel it viscerally. So that wasn't my favorite, but that's not
Sure.
the movie's fault. Amazing acting, amazing writing.
Yes.
And I see what you like about Taylor Swift now. Taylor Sheridan.
Yes.
Taylor
Yes.
Sheridan. Not
Yes.
to be confused with
Taylor Swift. Very similar people. Thank you for watching them both, and I'm so
You're
glad
welcome.
you enjoyed.
Absolutely. And
I-
I still want to hold you accountable for Jurassic Park. I have a suspicion I know how you did on your accountability goal, given the physical challenges you faced recently.
Yeah, I didn't.
How about
didn't.
you?
I did not watch Jurassic Park. I'm sorry. I did.
That's okay.
I did have COVID, so that's my
Yeah.
excuse. However, I will have watched it before the season 2 premiere of our next episode.
Okay.
But my other accountability goal was to get to page 65. I'm way past that. I'm on page 77 of
The script?
The script. Yes.
The fire starter. Cool.
Firebug. Yes. Close.
Firebug.
Close. You got the
Yeah.
first syllable. Yeah,
There's a new fire starter coming out.
it's true. Yeah,
Focus.
come on, Peter. Stop.
Come on, Peter.
lying to us.
Get your
Come
head out of your ass and call me Judy.
on. How did Romy do in her accountability goal?
Let me go to the update board here. This message is from 8 minutes ago.
Okay.
Hi, Peter. So that particular goal got derailed by incremental book marketing tasks, but said tasks were all in the service of a super secret project. super secret project being even more successful by building excitement now. So maybe in a way it's not a total fail, or so I tell myself. Ha ha, space, Romy.
Awesome. That's a win. That's 100% a win. Good job,
Nice
Romy.
job, Romy.
Hey,
sorry for bombarding you on every
I don't like your
social
girlfriend.
media. Hey, I hope you get a new one. Let's move on.
Okay.
Stop babbling, Erica. That's me. I'm too jazzed up.
Okay.
Can you tell me about Jessi and Marie, please?
I would love to. Jessi Honard and Marie Parks met as adults on an Animorphs forum, an online homage to the middle grade sci-fi books they've geeked out over since age 10. Jessi and Marie both believe in the power of found families, a theme that emerges in their joint and solo writing projects. Originally from Cleveland, Ohio, Jessi lives in the Bay Area of California with her partner Tara and her cat Obsidian. Marie grew up in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and now lives in Albuquerque, New Mexico with her rescue dogs Maya and Mitchell. Let's bring them in here.
Woo!
Jessi Marie, whoa.
Get in here.
Yay, thank you.
Woo! It is. I was just saying off camera, so to speak, that this is the first time that I've seen your faces, because when we did the unpublished chat after you guys were finalists, it was just a voice call on Zoom. It was just a creepy voice call instead of no visuals. So it's lovely to see your face in the box that is Zoom.
Yeah, it is. It definitely is. I mean, it's one of those, can you match the tiny like social profile picture with So yeah, it is good to see you in as close to as person as we can be
yes,
right now.
Yes, because you're in Albuquerque. Jessi, you're in Berkeley, right?
Yeah,
Berkeley.
Berkeley.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Berkeley for us East Coasters, California.
Yes, California, Bay Area.
Yeah.
Bay Area.
And Erica is in Florida, and I'm in Brooklyn. That's it. There's no other parts of the U.S. That's it. We got them all. That's it.
This is it.
So, hey, gang. So this is my. I'm gonna start asking questions. Voice, gang. So obviously, given our backstory, which you just touched on, I'm well aware of your background and creative upbringing, so to speak. But can you tell our listeners a little bit about yourselves and how you became a entity working together?
An entity. I like that. Yeah. So this is Marie, by the way, for people who are trying to discern voices.
Good call.
So Jessi and I met back in, was it 2010 or was it 20?
It was like December of 2009.
Okay, I'm going to call 2009 then. Sounds way more impressive, even though it was only a 12th of that year. We met on an online forum, as kids these days do. This forum was dedicated to a book series that we had loved as kids, and it was a lot of like adult readers who were gushing about it still and obsessed with it. And this book series is Animorphs by K.A. Applegate. Right? Yes, that's the correct reaction. We hung out on that forum for a while before discovering like, oh, hey, we're actually both living in the Houston area. Maybe we should meet in meet space. So we did. We met up and decided to become camping and hiking buddies. We already were writing buddies, like through the forum. We would like collaboratively write stuff. Within 6 months, we built a business together or started a business together.
That's right.
Yeah, we like really kind of latched on.
Wait,
really fast.
What was the business? I might have missed this in the bio.
We were like, we really want to start a business together because our day jobs are really draining. So we could either write for people online or open a bookstore. And we decided to go with the lower overhead option because we had no idea how to start a bookstore. So we now own a full-fledged copywriting agency and content marketing agency. But back then in 2010, it was like, we'll update your resume and make it pretty. So it's evolved quite a bit.
Yes.
It's North Star messaging.
Yes. It's not creative writing, but it's still was part of like our proving ground for writing together. And it also, let's be honest, was part of our like training to become completely codependent on each other when it comes to writing.
What's that like?
Yeah. So yeah, we write for clients, and we were also writing fiction, and just like fiction just for our eyes, fiction that, we were just having fun with. And it years into it before what eventually became Unrelenting was like the project du jour that became the project of the, decade or whatever. So we've been writing together for a long time.
I think we talked about this when we first met, because obviously writing partners in film and TV are not like uncommon. I mean, they're not super common, but they're common. In fiction, not so much. So I'm always curious as to know how exactly that works. Do you have any advice for people thinking about doing that on their first book?
The thing that Maria is kind of talking around with our writing fiction together prior to focusing on Unrelenting is that
we're getting real.
A lot of those collaborative fiction projects that we did prior to Unrelenting were just role playing. It was just text-based role playing where we would choose two characters and we would throw them in a room together and have them have conversations and take turns. Like character A was mine, character B was Marie's. And first of all, that's like hyper collaborative.
Yeah.
So like it was just ingrained in us to collaboratively write together. So when we went to shift from that format to a novel, it felt like there was no other way to do it. But it also was like a safe place to play with collaborative writing where we could do things that had no consequence because there was no actual overarching plot that we had to like satisfy readers with. It was just like,
absolutely. Yeah.
Let's do something and see what happens.
That's probably why your guys' dialogue is so strong, because you started just doing dialogue essentially, right?
Yeah, but we do get that compliment a fair bit about the dialogue, and I don't know where that comes from. I think it's just, does that sound real? Sure, I don't know.
But for people that are thinking about entering a writing partnership, what are some tips that you can give them, that things that they should consider or know about it going into it?
For one, I mean, as Marie mentioned before, we're a little codependent in some ways. So like there wasn't a lot of I guess angst around, do we do this or is it going to work? And even while we did it. But what I would say that like absolutely made it, a really strong writing relationship that I think anyone who's considering co-writing needs to think about is we knew our expectations right from the beginning. And we had a lot of trust in one another and absolutely like zero ego. And so I think if you're thinking about entering a co-writing relationship, especially if it's a new one, testing that ground in a safe way, like we did with our role plays and collaborative fiction, figuring out each other's styles, each other's like lines that you won't cross and things like that, just really knowing each other and trusting that the goal is to create the best product possible, the best story possible.
Best idea wins. Yep.
Yeah. Like at the end of the day, it's not like I want this to happen because I want this to happen, so therefore it's going to happen. It's I want this to happen because it's in the best interest of the story. And being able to have those conversations as a co-writer is really important.
I'm curious, what do you guys, I mean, obviously in a partnership, one person has certain strengths that are balance out the others. What do you think, like Jessi, what do you think Marie's best strengths are and vice versa? Put you on the spot.
Oh. So it's interesting because the answer to that is almost like intuitive. Like I know it when I know it. Like I think, for example, I think that Marie is a lot better at some of the more emotional beats of a story than I am. Although I don't know that she would agree with that.
She's shaking her head.
We're in trouble.
But I also like when we're writing in a document, if I'm writing something, there are frequent times where I will come to a point in the writing and I will just put in brackets, Marie, help, you're better at this. Close bracket and continue on. And so it's very much like in the moment, I'm like, oh, this is something Marie knows how to write. And I'm just not even going to touch it.
And that's amazing. I mean, that's really cool because that takes leaving, like you said, leaving ego at the door and knowing where you're strong and where you're, not as strong. So that takes a lot of humility. That's awesome.
Yeah, I would also say that Marie definitely has a more poetic writing style than I do. And so a lot of the really rich phrasing that you find in Unrelenting is probably originated from her.
Marie's blushing, guys, for the people that can't see.
Peter.
Peter.
That's why Peter hides behind the booth.
That's it. You can't
see
him.
Just like mortified.
I'm just a set of eyes. That's it. Marie, how about you?
Yeah. So Jessi brings so many strengths to writing. And I think some of them are, she's, I think, really good at having like a really intuitive sense of pacing. Both of us are totally pantsers, but it's kind of one of those, oh yeah, this is feeling really good at snapping along, and she's so good at like knowing that. And also like if if
And I hope you
anybody's
do the head
listening to
bob
this,
while I hope you do the head bob while you
head
write
bob.
too. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Who needs music? I just need Jessi's pacing knowledge. And also like those chapter endings and Unrelenting that like make you want to turn the page.
Yeah.
But that's Jessi. She's amazing at them.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's just amazing at those. And other stuff that she's really great at, I think, is just I get in the weeds a little too much. I'm like, yeah, but like in this scene, like let's spend a little time on this thing. And maybe this is part of that pacing thing, but like she's so good at just knowing, like taking a look back at the overarching arc. Like even though we're pantsers, like it starts to take form as it goes.
Yeah,
and we have some ideas of what's going to happen and what are we trying to convey. And she's so good at like keeping me in check and keeping that like 10,000 foot view in check.
10,000 foot view. I love that. I'm going to tattoo that on my forehead. That's a great
Thank you for
turn of
saying
phrase.
forehead.
What did you think I was going to say?
We heard you about to say the B word, the butt word.
I was not going to say butt.
Yes, you
I
were.
was not.
I heard it. Let's roll back that tape and listen again. It's going to happen. I've actually heard Jeannie mention that, the 10,000 foot view, and it was only in context. And I instantly knew what that meant. I'm like, oh, that's what I don't do. I write from the weeds.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. Yep. High five.
Like, I think the weeds are very like there are things hidden in the weeds that are worth exploring. And I think that's one of the ways in which that Marie and I complement each other so well, because sometimes I'm so far up at the 10,000 foot view. I'm like plot point. And Marie's like, okay, but maybe we should explore this character a little bit.
Maybe it should be a red mug instead of a dark red mug.
We've had like there were like conversations about the color of like Bridget's coat or something. Like I was the originator of that. Yes, I was.
Absolutely. I'm like, it's a coat. Moving on.
No, for real, like 300 years from now, there's going to be some sophomore English professor who's going to be making her students dissect the meaning of Bridget's coat in Unrelenting.
That's horrifying.
Right? It's like, no, it was just Marie being weird.
Like, you're going to be listening to this conversation and be like, see? The source data.
Spark Notes is wrong. So obviously, I mean, the big congratulations. We've talked about it before, but like Unrelenting is out now. Congratulations, you guys. What an amazing feeling that must be. I read a very, very early iteration of it. I would imagine that once you signed the deal with Not a Pipe and you went through the editing process and all that, it changed a decent amount. Can you, for our listeners that might be curious, can you walk us through kind of the process of signing the contract and then publication?
It was a process.
Yes. Okay, that's it. That's all we need.
I was actually about to say in 6 words or less, and you totally did it. Like
well, I'll add quickly a caveat to that, which is Not a Pipe is amazing. And like the fact that it was a process is probably, I mean, definitely more on us than on them.
I mean, it was, I should say it was a process, but compared to like what it could have been if we didn't have the support of y'all, it was like incredible.
100%.
Yeah. Yes. You read an early draft. It did change a lot. That was part of the editorial process with Not a Pipe. But even prior to that, when we were looking at like who to sign with and things like that, like having options was just like kind of mind blowing. And I think that's kind of what made it a process, because we were like, oh, we have to choose and we have to like find the publishing house or the agent who actually feels like the best fit for us.
Right.
And in our case, that turned into who really matches our values and will, even though we know we're going to have to make a lot of edits to this book to get it to its final version, allow us to maintain the integrity of the story we want to tell.
When you sat down with Not a Pipe, what was that first conversation like?
It was surreal in the way that this is surreal, sitting with people who are like really, really excited about our book.
Oh, come on.
It was like love at first Zoom.
Yeah.
Yes. Putting
really
that on your
was.
mugs.
Yeah, it was definitely like really gratifying and like, I don't know, scratched some kind of itch to like see that kind of alignment of vision.
Right.
Because previously that was only something that, you know, Jessi and I had, and then we experienced, you know, with you, Peter, and like the whole Pipeline Media family. And like, and then this, like, it was just really an honor, honestly, to like sit there with folks who like got it, were excited about it, wanted to throw their resources behind it, agreed with us on values. They were respectful of boundaries that we had, like, patient with us because it was our first time. This is, our debut book. Like all the things. And also, like, the more we learned about them, the more we were just like, wow, they really live their values in a way that you just don't see, because it takes a lot of effort, and it takes a lot of like putting your money and your action and your time where your mouth is. And so we've been just so consistently impressed by that. And also, we took some time to think about it, right? Like, we reached out to some other authors on Twitter, just saying like, hey, we have an offer, but we want to know a little bit about what your experience has been like with them. And like,
as you should. Yeah.
They all gushed. We ordered some books, high quality, read through them, like looked at also things just like, what's the paper quality? Like, do they hold together, Yeah. So like all of that, we looked at. We also, because we don't have an agent, and I think maybe one might want to consider doing this anyway, even if they do, like, we also hired a literary attorney to like look over the contract and just make sure everything was above board and sort of aligned with industry standards. There were some suggestions that attorney made, and Not a Pipe was really gracious about working with us to come to a place that like was really win-win for everybody. So like the whole process just felt really very much like they were very honest about really caring about their authors and their authors' well-being, and their authors like having their vision really realized.
I have a prequel question that is right in line with this. As the only one of the four of us who wasn't there at the onset, at the seminal moment of you guys finding Pipeline, how did you find the Book Pipeline contest?
Oh,
I think it was you, Jessi, who found it.
It was me. I feel like I was asked this recently, and I was like, how did I find them?
I think what you said is you saw like something on Twitter.
Yeah, I think it was through a tweet.
It was a message from a dove in the stars.
It really was. It really was. Baby blue dinosaur came out and told me that,
Dinosaurs.
Yeah, so it was in that period of time, Marie and I had just sort of entered the querying trenches with intention. We had kind of just finished our round of beta readers, done some revisions. And we were like, okay, we're going to attack querying. And we had very quickly gotten kind of burnt out by that process. Because
It's a grind.
It is a grind. And having that grind on top of running our own business, it was like, we just do not have time for this or energy for this. We really want to give it a solid shot, and we're going to continue doing that, but we're also going to look for some alternatives. Okay. And so it was around that time that we saw the Book Pipeline information. We're like, let's just give it a shot and see what happens, because this seems like a good possible alternative that might yield a little bit more dialogue than the querying trenches have.
I think I actually tuned out on your answer, so I can't wait to hear it again, because I was picturing what it would be like to see the tweet. Like, I totally blanked out. Sorry,
it's just ADHD. Matt and I sitting on a pile of money. That's it. You
didn't join Twitter until 6 months ago. Matt, you were sitting on a pile of money? Get out of here.
Absolutely not.
All right.
Well, I do remember that once I found the tweet and like went to the website, was looking at it, one of the things that, I've always been cautious about is like, if I'm actively like giving my money to someone else or doing something that's a little out of the traditional querying route, like making sure they're legit. So I do remember like looking at the contest itself and the agents that you all had on your list, and like, okay, these are like legitimate people that I've heard of, just kind of doing some due diligence around that, and then reaching out to Maria and being like, hey, I think we should at least try this thing. And to be completely 100% honest, we did the thing and then completely forgot about it.
That's the best.
That is you're I think you're the third contestants we've had on the show that have said that. 3 out of 3. I think John said he forgot about it.
Yep. Then Kira said, I think she forgot about it too.
Kira said she forgot about it too. Yeah. Curious, what did you think of Jessi presenting this idea to you?
I was definitely down for it, because I was also feeling frustrated, I guess, with the querying process at no fault of agents themselves. Like, it's a messy system that I think is designed to burn everybody out. Yeah. I think I was sitting at a coffee shop with my friend when I think I was the one who submitted the email and sent it off. And that was the last time I went to a coffee shop, because then things happened that spring of 2020 that shall remain unnamed. And that's, I think, a lot of why we forgot about it. And so then we were just kind of still querying. We had some professional development between then and then. So we, we're thinking about learning more about plotting structures, and just continuing to work on just being better writers.
Right.
And we were actually at a virtual Surrey International Writers Conference, although we had decided to meet up in person because we knew that if we're home, we're going to get distracted by cooking meals and work emails coming in or whatever. So we met up in person and we were attending SIWC, and we got this email from y'all that was you're a finalist. We're like, oh yeah, that thing.
And it was so serendipitous because we live in different states. We see each other once or twice a year. And it happened to be while we were physically together that email came through. She started crying.
Because things were so hard at that point and we were feeling so tired, It was oh, perfect. It was, you couldn't have plotted that better if it had been a story. That was the moment. But also I think what we did is we Grubhubbed just buckets
endless
of desserts.
Just
cakes for days.
This is my favorite.
That is 100% the way to do contests, though. I'm if you enter, you should just not think about it, because if you obsess about it, I don't think you're gonna be selected. I mean, that's when I won the script pipeline contest. That completely happened for me too.
I keep forgetting.
I submitted.
Am I the only one who's not a finalist? I gotta enter some of these anonymously. Peter, I keep forgetting that you're one of the script winners.
Yeah. Yep.
Y'all are nerds.
You don't see his crown?
Yeah, we are.
Right? Oh, is that what the tiara's for?
Yeah.
Everybody, Peter is wearing a very sparkly tiara.
I shine it every day. So I kind of want to just circle back to if you don't mind, to the development process. So obviously, like I said, I read an earlier version, and I would imagine that you went through several drafts before it came out. What do you think was probably the biggest thing that changed between the draft that I read and the draft that ended up being the book?
I'm organizing my thoughts because there are a couple of significant changes, not to the plot, but to the way in which we added depth to the plot or to the characters that happened between the draft you read and the final edition.
Yeah.
And the two things that I can think of that I think were most impactful were, I'll mention them high level, and then I'll talk about one, and I'll let Marie talk about the other one. So high level, one was the magic system and just getting a little more clear on it. And then the other was identity and being really explicit about identity within the story. Cool. So as far as the magic system is concerned, one of the pieces of feedback we had gotten, actually not from Not a Pipe, it was from an R&R from an agent, but we had signed the contract with Not a Pipe and brought this to them, and they were like, yes, do that. That makes sense. Let's talk through that. We had a pretty soft magic system when we wrote our earlier drafts. And we knew that it had rules, but we hadn't fleshed out the rules. So it came across as a soft magic system. And we realized through that R&R and through our talks with Not a Pipe that it needed more definition. And so one of the revisions we made was in really giving that magic system rules and definition that is now impacting the sequel that we're writing, and it will impact the third.
Awesome.
So that was a pretty significant adjustment that actually has kind of lasting consequences.
Awesome. That's killer.
And I think related to that, they also were expressing an interest in knowing more about the lore of the magic wielders. And so
the
that
Grigori.
The Grigori. So that became something that we dove into more. I think we were a little nervous too, because we felt like maybe we're overwhelming readers with too much stuff. And so they helped us figure out how to do that in ways that really didn't overwhelm the reader and complemented the character arc and the plot arc. Yeah, their edits are amazing. There was also a lot more to depth, between the relationship between Bridget and her missing sister Dahlia, right? Where you have to have a reason to want to find this girl. So let's make sure that the reader really cares as much as Bridget does, or at least close to. So that was, I think another really important set of notes that they gave us and helps us brainstorm ideas on how to do that. In terms of identity, there's an interesting sort of dovetail with Unrelenting, the writing of Unrelenting, and just, life as a writer and life as a human. When we first were writing Unrelenting, we were bringing it to our critique groups and things like that. People would always, there's for people who haven't read it, who are listening, there's one of the main characters named James, he's supporting and I don't know. Yeah, he's a supporting friend along this search for Dahlia with Bridget. And so people just kept assuming in those critique groups that like James and Bridget are totally an item. They're going to get together. It's just a matter of time. And we had never envisioned their relationship like that. Like we saw them as, just like collaborative partners in this search. And so we kept writing things and editing things to like make it clearer that this is platonic. And people kept being like, so when are they getting together? And we're like, but at the same time, I was learning like there's a whole broader spectrum of identity and specifically LGBTQ identity that I like was not raised to like know about, because people just in general, we're not having conversations about this.
No.
And
Sure.
the depth and level that like we are now back in like 80s, 90s, even to 2000s. And so that's, in my 30s, that's when I discovered that I'm asexual. I discovered that as then I like looked back at all the books that I've like written, am writing, had shelves, and I was like, all the main characters are ace, like all of them.
Awesome. Yes.
But I didn't have a word for it, right? Like it was just aligned with the way I experienced the world. And so it's become, I think, important for Jessi and me to like, you don't have to be explicit about somebody's identity for something to be queer rep. Right. Like, let me be clear, but like, it felt to us like we wanted to be more explicit about it, especially with ace rep, because there's just not a lot of it out there. And this is also a story that's not really about being asexual. It's just like people having adventures and doing things. And some of them happen to be self-identifying as queer. And so it felt important for us to like, just put a name to it. That was a shift for us that we were sort of trying to figure out how to navigate. Not a Pipe was super supportive with us trying to figure out how to navigate that. And honestly, has been like our biggest cheerleaders in that process. Yeah. So it's felt really good to feel like we're contributing to the the ever growing body of queer lit.
Awesome.
Heck yeah.
Awesome. That's amazing. Yeah. And it seems like you guys really was a partnership with Not a Pipe, which I know is not always the case with a bigger, Big Five house. There's not always quite the personal partnership. So I mean, this is hard to answer in theory, I guess. Right. But like, if you guys had, ended up at a bigger publisher, do you think the book would have ended up going a very different direction?
Yes. Probably. I think so. So anecdotally, just based off of some conversations that we had with other people who were in the industry in other roles, there was a push for making that expectation that Bridget and James would be an item a reality. And like that being a part of the revision process. And that, there's nothing wrong with having a romance subplot or a romance plot in a story. There may even be room for that in the future in Bridget's storyline, potentially. Sure. But it was very much something that we did not envision in this book. And so that kind of became one of those hard lines for us of like, this is kind of ruining the integrity of what we're trying to write with this specific story at this time.
It sounds like setting boundaries is really important to both of you. And do you have any tips for anyone listening, whether they're single writers, co-writers, for how to get comfortable? I'm just going to ask it that way, because I was raised in the 80s and 90s, and we were taught like, no, my parents' boundaries are my boundaries. Like they set them for me, and like, that's it. Like they just, this top-down method. Any advice for somebody in any aspect of their life to set boundaries?
Great question.
This is the thing I've been working on, like with capital T, right?
Yep.
Like the thing.
Okay. We'll all swap numbers before this is over.
Yeah. We have stories to share. I think
stuff to talk about.
Yeah. So I think it ultimately comes down to, for me personally, just believing that I am worthy of taking up space and that I am worthy of my vision and goals and well-being being respected, and it is not my job to caretake how someone else responds. So, right? Yeah.
Yep. Chef's kiss.
Chef's kiss,
Yep.
yes.
That's
Beautiful.
incredible.
Suddenly realized people can't hear that.
I know. They don't see me. Can you guys not see me? Like, I can see me.
So like, it's up to me to say like, hey, this is where I'm comfortable. And then it's up to them to respond. And like, I'm totally open to dialogue and like figuring out how that looks and works. But like, if my boundary bumps up against somebody else's boundary, then it doesn't necessarily mean that there's any hard feelings or that like they're evil or that I'm evil. Like, it just means like, it's not a good fit. And this is an area where we have to disagree and, or like go separate ways, and that's fine. So I think it's a lot of like also shedding that desire to people please, and also to like take the opportunities that come, even if they're not a good fit. And I don't know if you have other wisdom around that, Jessi, but.
Yeah, this is kind of making me think of another interview we did a few weeks ago where we had a conversation about what hills are you going to die on? And
amazing question.
Yeah.
I think knowing that helps you set and maintain the most important boundaries to you, because there are some boundaries that are just, this is a wall. And then there are some boundaries that are like, okay, we can have a dialogue around this. There may be a compromise. And I think it's really important to know what those hills are so that you can protect them rather than spreading your energy on a bunch of different things that may or may not be as important as those hills.
And knowing when to set the boundaries and knowing when it's time to let go is also so important.
I think there's a lot of struggle with it in this industry in particular, because there's a hierarchy that's sort of inherent in the way the industry is structured, where writers, especially writers who are not represented by an agent, writers who are not at a house, they're sort of, they are the product, it feels like. And so therefore it feels like, oh, I have to acquiesce to the people who I'm reaching out to in order to make progress in this career I'm trying to seek. While compromise is absolutely on the table, there are certain, there need to be kind of certain understandings within yourself of like, you don't have to acquiesce everything. You don't have to bend over backwards for everyone just because they're giving you an opportunity. Like, what is it that, that you keep saying, Marie, that you heard from Mary Robinette Cowell?
Oh, well, she was talking about, or it's worse to have an agent who is not a good fit for you than to not have an agent at all, because you're tied to them for the lifetime of that book. Right. But I think that's true every step of the process. Right. So it's like, it's better to have a house that's a publishing house that's a good fit for you, or it's worse, I guess, to have a publishing house that's not a good fit for you than to not have one at all. Or like
having the right fit is more important than having a fit at all.
If past Erica is ever listening to this podcast about setting boundaries, my fear was always, what if they're mad at me? And I hear my late mother always saying, what are they going to do? Take away your birthday?
I love that. That's really good.
Given that you've published a book now and you've seen the industry from kind of the inside as opposed to the outside looking in, right? What's something that you would love to change about the industry as a whole, if you could? The giant overarching question. Take your time.
Okay, well, one thing that occurs to me, well, I mean, obviously there's a lot going on in Twitter right now around problems. And I am not, I'm not privy to a lot of that because we aren't agented and we didn't go to like the big five. So I don't know that I can really speak to a lot of that, but as a business owner, one thing that I see is like, wow, there's just a lot of inefficiency. Yes. To a point, like, and there's nothing necessarily wrong with that, like if the process still works. But if you're seeing that people are burning out and you're seeing that like things aren't necessarily equitable or things are not, I don't know, logical, like those are areas to look at. So
Jessi, you're about to burst. Jessi looks like she's about to burst right now.
Marie has the very diplomatic answer that Jessi's about to drop the hammer.
Like I see the devil horns coming up.
I don't know if y'all follow like Enneagram type stuff, but like personality type, it's a personality type thing. And Marie's is like an Enneagram 9, which is very much the peacemaker. Whereas I'm an Enneagram 1, which is very much the like moral imperative. It's very much like us for Marie to be very diplomatic and me to be like, but actually, let's talk about. No, I agree with everything she said. And I think I would add to it that there needs to be a level of transparency that there is not within the industry. I mentioned a hierarchy earlier. That hierarchy doesn't actually exist in reality. Like a writer is not less important than an agent, who is not less important than an editor, who is not less important than a publisher. That needs to go away. That like whole hierarchy needs to just like stop existing. And we need to acknowledge that at the end of the day, everyone is bringing their skills to the table, and we need all of those skills in order to have a published book that is in the hands of readers, that is making a difference in those readers' lives, and in a way that is actually sustainable for all of those people involved, and not just like serving the top people at the pyramid. Okay, I'm done.
Peter,
thank you.
Peter, do you want to go get like a coffee with me? We can just let them finish the show.
You guys want to do the show.
I have thoughts.
Keep going.
Thoughts. Yeah.
I'll mute myself.
Comparatively, I'll be completely honest, the publishing industry is acres ahead of the film and TV industry in terms of hierarchy and gatekeepers, and film and TV industry is awful in that sense. That's terrible.
Depressing.
Yeah. Sorry. it's awful.
I just got super hungry.
Is it time? I mean,
it's a segue. That's a segue and a half. Actually, I'm going to go old school with the original version of the question, Peter, from episode 1.
Drum roll.
Marie and Jessi, do you eat or drink anything while you write?
Yes. I'm holding up my very large coffee mug for those of you who cannot
So we have a
see.
coffee.
I don't feel like you can like talk about being hungry when I've been forced to stare at the giant pizza sticker on your screen this entire conversation.
I'm sorry. Here, hold on. Wait. Where's the book? We'll just cover it. There you go.
Perfect. Okay. Yep. Coffee. I have a weird relationship with food where Marie has to remind me to eat often. So I'm mostly coffee.
I know. I don't get it at all.
Marie, thank you. What about you, Marie? Do you?
Yeah. So for beverages, I actually go for sparkling water. Snacks. Yeah. I mean, chocolate's my undoing. Absolutely. Dark chocolate.
Before we end it, are we ready to end it? Have I interrupted you guys enough?
I could be here all day. Trust me. This is way more fun than anything else I have going on like all month.
This is my handy dandy sticker bag. And I would invite all three of you to pick a sticker, especially for this, our last episode 2 season.
Yeah, that's the other thing. You guys are the season finale for season 1.
This is the season finale. Yeah. So I need you guys to let me know. I'm just going to grab there's a whole bunch of sections in this gift bag. It's hard to see with a lot of the office stuff. Don't be an idiot.
I call the one with Kevin eating something.
Kevin eating broccoli.
There you go.
You want that? Okay, I'll get that.
Yeah, I do.
That's yours.
Looks like he's in pain. There was one on the initial pile that looked like it looked like a what's it called? Where the sand falls and you freak out because you're running out of time.
Hourglass.
Hourglass. Oh,
thank you.
I think that's actually on my.
It's stuck to it.
It's here. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll just say that that's speaking to me, even though I'll look a little further. But because I'm one of those people who needs a deadline, that's one of the things we have to ask. We have to ask, not a pipe. Please just be mean. Please, for once in your lives, be mean and give us a deadline. Because it's
there
hard.
you go.
Anyway, I'll
wrote,
browse further.
I just wrote Marie's.
Oh,
there you go. Does that work?
That's sweet. Yes, thank you.
So Peter, you picked Kevin eating broccoli.
God bless him. Yeah.
Yeah. Jessi, anything sticking out to you? We have the creepy twins from The Shining.
Oh my
God. There's no middle ground here. Here's an innovation sticker. I don't know what this lady's theme was, but here's a.
Ooh, is there a mountain one?
Is that what that is?
Oh yeah, I like the mountain one.
This is immortalization.
This is good. I'm gonna put the Kevin right by the pizza.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's
tracks.
amazing.
That tracks.
Nailed it.
I want to see his face every single time I zoom you.
You got it.
There you go. Yep.
Nailed it.
Beautiful.
This is amazing.
This is good podcasting.
This is just
great. Objectively perfect.
This happens towards the end of episodes, but evidently towards the ends of seasons too. We just get a little slappy. We can be professional.
No.
Yeah, but why?
I'm a little sloppy today too because I'm in my Care Bear memorabilia. Like
I was
never
gonna comment about your necklace.
I just got it yesterday from eBay.
I'm obsessed with it.
It's a thing of beauty.
Yeah, and I have this old. It doesn't work anymore. Care Bear vintage watch from a thrift store.
So should we wrap up though? So
Pandemic pass. We've all been alone for so long.
Yeah.
I suppose
Yeah,
that might be.
I suppose. Yeah. So, gang, Jessi Marie, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
You're incredible, and it was great to see your face. Would you like to plug your websites and/or social media handles?
Yes, please.
Sure. Yes. First of all, thank you so much for inviting us on. It's been amazing. And like for sure, highlight of my month probably. Yeah. So you can find the series at thegregorybooks.com or like at the Gregory Books, on all the places.
Okay.
My stuff is weird because there's another person named Marie Parks out there. So it varies, but the hub, I guess, is marieparks.com.
Okay.
And you can find all the socials there.
Yep. And my website is jessicahonard.com. So it's my full name, not Jessi, because I haven't gotten that changed yet. So it's jessicahonard.com. And I'm at Jessi Honard on all of the socials. That's Jessi, no E at the end. Jessi Honard.
Jessi without an E.
Yes.
Yeah. There's a very
awesome. I'll
90s
make sure
child reason for it.
Actually, no, the reason is because I read The Babysitter's Club as a child, and Jessi, the character, was one of my favorites.
Awesome.
Guys, thank you. This was fantastic. And that concludes season 1.
Hey.
That was bananas. They were so great.
They really were. Thank you so much, Jessi Marie. You're wonderful, and you're the best. So that means that we're going to disappear into the internet ether and you're never going to see us again. No, I'm just kidding.
That's not true.
That's not true. We'll be back for season 2. There might be a little bit of a gap, but we don't know.
Let's take a break. We'll take a break.
We'll take a break.
Recharge our batteries.
But Erica, and on a serious note here, I've always wanted to do a podcast and I was looking for the right partner, and you are that tenfold, and I love you. And thank you for making this ridiculous idea into a reality.
Oh my God, Peter, that's not on the sheet.
That's not on the sheet.
Peter, thank you. That's really sweet. I think you're only okay. I love you too. This is a bucket list item for me. And you're like the little brother / grandpa I never had.
Yep. I'm a 2-for-1 special.
You're my twofer. I'm going to call you twofer from now on. Yeah. Oh God. No, but I ditto that because this... Guys, I wasn't expecting to get it.
Oh no, she's gonna cry. I'm gonna bring this home while she's crying.
Crying's okay. It just means I have
crying's okay.
Salty discharge. I know you know that. Oh my God.
So hey, gang.
I'm not done.
Okay. Jeez. Okay.
You have to let me. You can't drop that emotional bomb and just let me. Thank you for this. Thank you, Matt and Jeannie and whoever else greenlighted this for us. And Peter, thank you for greenlighting it. And Matt and Chad, you guys don't have any choice about allowing us to do season 2 because we're already going to do it.
Matt, I'm gonna hold your baseball cards hostage if you don't give us season 2.
Oh, he's gonna be so sad.
Yeah, I can hear the tears all the way from here in Brooklyn.
Hey, and to our listeners, I know there's at least 6 of you who have been with us from the beginning, and I love you guys too. I think I can speak for both of us that we love you, and
we do.
We appreciate you. And if you do not have a mug yet, let us know. This is your second sign to DM us on Twitter at the podcast title. We'll give out as many mugs as whoever wants them. I mean, don't ask for 7 mugs unless you really want 7 mugs. And
unless you're really thirsty.
Dork.
Oh,
Peter, finish it.
And if you have any questions, rants, or raves about writing, or you want to learn more about us or Pipeline, please visit pipelineartists.com.
And you can follow us on Twitter at the podcast title, where you can also ask for a free mug.
Yep.
On Instagram or Facebook at This Podcast Needs a Title. And you can follow me at The Davis Girl. Or you can follow the best little brother / grandpa a girl could have ever had at PME Writer. I love you, Peter.
I love you too.
You know what also happens in season 2s? A new theme song.
So it'll just be me playing the banjo.
I would love it if you played the banjo.
I don't, but
I taught myself to play guitar. My dad had a couple bands.
No, aren't you cool?